Hi, cohort. Dakota here. I want to talk about an amazing group that I got to be a part of this last year when I took organic chemistry. I had to take it as a prereq for my degree that I want to pursue after LCC. And while taking this course, we started with 8 individuals in the first quarter. This is a 3-quarter year-long course. And by week 4, we were down to 3 people in that first quarter. And then starting second quarter, it was 2 people. So I'm mostly going to talk about the dyad that I was able to form with my other lab partner. Just the 2 of us went through OChem through winter and spring together. Despite the odds against us as a dyad, our textbook talks about how they tend to be anxious, uncomfortable, members are reluctant to give opinions or are constantly asking for opinions. Many things made us successful from this endeavor. The authors of our textbook go on to mention that dyads are tense and fragile, with little sharing of opinion or oversharing. That time when we went from 8 to 3 and then the 3 to 2, so the end of that first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, we were uncomfortable as a group. Our direction wasn't solidified, and we were both flailing kind of on our own level, while still being a team because we had to work labs together. So one of the most important things we established immediately was consistent and open communication. We passed in the hall, we stopped and checked in with each other. And it wasn't all like at once. The other individual and I do not have a natural inclination to socialize outside of classes. So it started small. Hey, a wave, an inside joke the next week. When we were passing, eventually we would stop and actually have conversations. And then that led to having full conversations in the middle of our day, finding each other on campus, and then eventually texting each other about school. And this was all because we needed to keep ourselves strong. OChem is a very hard course, and with only 2 people, it's even harder. So we talked a lot about life. We talked about our coursework. We talked about emotions and how we're dealing with coursework and just the human experience as we're going through this. And it really reminded me of, we watched that video on virtual teams, and I felt like this point could apply to what happened as well. When they said, with the more open relative information that a team shares, leading to more effectiveness in the teams that share a more open relative to unique information feel more cohesive and more connected to one another, from the Institute of Management and Development. The information we were sharing was open and relevant, in my opinion, because sharing our mental load of life is directly correlated to our ability to learn, take exams, and be collaborative, like have that collaborative mindset. The CEO of Burberry said something similar when she said, the most important thing we can do is over-communicate. So to me, this was not too much. The consistent communication reminded us that there was another person with us in this really hard time, that we could reach out to somebody else other than our professor. And this really established our relationship through basic human connection. The next thing we kind of did as we got into the second quarter and into more intense coursework, we maintained a weekly preset meeting to go over labs, homework, study for exams. This weekly check-in would sometimes get dropped. Sometimes we were really productive. Sometimes we weren't productive at all, but we still met. And to me, that consistency, that predictability of meeting kept us on track to complete our final part of our course, which was our final exam for the whole year, the American Chemical Society Organic Chemistry exam, which gives us national accreditation and clout to work in laboratory settings. This was a huge deal. It was worth a large portion of our grade, and the national average is like 35 out of 75. I think it was most beneficial because it kept up our team spirit, like this weekly meeting, like we're fine, we're working, we're doing it. It reminded us of the importance and weight of what we were learning. Teams with high level of team spirit, also called team cohesiveness, generally are more effective at achieving their goals than teams that lack team spirit. That's from our textbook by Aldag and Kutsahara. The last thing that stood out to me was that neither of us were hesitant to take responsibility for mistakes that we had made. In a chemistry lab, not owning mistakes can actually lead to dangerous situations. Simon Sinek said this about owning our mistakes. I'm the first person to own every mistake, explaining that great leaders are not afraid of the confrontation of ownership. As an example of us working through this, there was a time in the third quarter when we're running qualitative testing, and I had successfully just completed a test. The reagents involved were very serious chemicals and could present a hazardous situation if contaminated at all. And then my lab partner did the test immediately after me, and he was not having success with the test. And so I immediately said, hey, I had just run this test. It's possible that I could have mixed up the pipettes when doing the reagents, and I could have contaminated one with the other. And this really reminds me of when we read about norms in our textbook, because we want to meet the expectations of our team members. Norms control our behavior. Not only had I owned up to the potential issue, we were able to troubleshoot from me saying that and determine that's not what happened within 30 minutes instead of it taking all day. But it also signals to my lab partner and my professor that I am trustworthy in the lab. It is a team norm while working in a lab that certain protocols will be followed for safety, not only for myself, but for everyone working in the space and anyone who has come after. We never did determine what the issue was that day, but we knew it wasn't from accidentally mixing those reagents. Forming and operating as a dyad was a great learning experience for me because I had to lead with confidence in time management. Those were my strengths, and that helped my teammate also learn confidence in time management. He led with a better understanding of the course material, relevant vocabulary, and laboratory expectations, and he helped me match those. So his strengths helped me, my strengths helped him. Mostly, I feel that we succeeded because we will remain lifelong friends from this experience. We both gained a lot of insight into working in a group and in laboratory settings together as a team. We did some great research that luckily we will get to continue to do into our future careers. Thanks for listening to my story, guys. Bye.